All right, y'all. I just watched the movie Sinners. And yeah, if you haven't seen it and plan to, scroll the fuck on because, in my opinion, the best way to watch this movie is to go in completely blind. I thought the movie was something different. And I mean, I was nicely surprised. Ryan Coogler's Sinners is far more than a vampire thriller. I heard so many people say it sucked and wasn't worth the hype. Everyone is deserving of their own opinions, but those people I think are thinking on a surface level. No offense. I mean, it wasn't just a movie about vampires attacking a town. It's a layered spiritual allegory that weaves together Black history, generational trauma, and the complexities of faith. I heard others say it was just another vampire movie. A closer look reveals so much symbolism that rewards careful attention, especially from a spiritual perspective. At its core, Sinners uses the supernatural to interrogate what is sacred and what is profane in a world marked by oppression. You know, the movie opens up with Sammy, the blues loving son of a preacher, interrupting his father's sermon. An immediate collision of the sacred, which is the church, and the secular, which is the blues. The tension is not just generational, but spiritual. It reflects the real life push and pull between Black Christianity and ancestral traditions. The Mississippi Delta setting, it's a living symbol of Black endurance and suffering. The juke joint, transformed from a sawmill with a bloody past, becomes a site of both joy and haunting, a place where the community attempts to reclaim space and spirit, even as old wounds linger. And then Sammy's guitar, rumored to have belonged to Charlie Patton, is a potent symbol. It's not just an instrument, but a vessel for ancestral memory, capable of summoning spirits and bridging generations. The film's most transcendent scenes, yes, where Sammy's playing conjures a spectral band, underscores music as a weapon and a healing force, echoing the role of blues in Black survival and resistance. Yet, music also attracts predators. The vampire's hunger for Black music and vitality is a metaphor for cultural exploitation, a reoccurring wound in American history. The film's invocation of the crossroads myth, where the blues magicians are said to bargain for talent, becomes an allegory for the bargains Black artists who have been forced to make, and often at the cost of their own identity and agency. Where the religion in Sinners is omnipresent but ambiguous. Christianity is depicted both as a sanctuary and a tool of repression. The Lord's Prayer and holy water are powerful when wielded without conviction. True spiritual power emanates from a blend of Christian and indigenous practices embodied by a Native American vampire hunter and by Annie, a practitioner of folk magic. Reflects the real life blending of Black faith traditions where survival requiring drawing from multiple spiritual wells. A haunting moment occurs when a white vampire mimics baptism, blurring the lines between salvation and damnation and forcing the viewers to question the true source of spiritual authority. The vampires and sinners are not just monsters. They are symbols of colonization and cultural erasure. Their seduction, offering immortality and escape, mirrors the historical pressures on Black communities to assimilate or collaborate with oppressive systems. The motive of invitation, where the vampires cannot enter without being in, it highlights the importance of boundaries and the consequences when communities let their guard down. Some characters tempted by the vampire promises become complicit in their own community's destruction, which is totally a nuanced commentary on the real world pressures to conform and the cost of survival. There was so much subtle symbolism that I guarantee many people missed. What about the blood-stained sawmill floor repeatedly shown? It's a literal and figurative reminder of generational trauma. The visual homage to Ernie Barnes' Sugar Shack and the dance scenes, it ties the film to a broader Black cultural memory connecting past and present. What about the dual role of Michael B. Jordan, which he played a great role, by the way, and he was, yeah. So the dual role of Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and Stack is more than a casting trick. It's a mediation on the internal struggle between resistance and assimilation and the impossibility of killing off one's shadow self. Yeah, I know, I'm brilliant. And my head exploded when he said, "Don't get that smoke on her." I'm paraphrasing, but I was like, fucking brilliant, you know? While Sinners is rich in symbolism, some viewers found it like, and mainly the people that I know that I talk to, they found it spiritually confusing or even troubling, and that a lot of people came to me to ask. I can imagine, especially those seeking more of like an explicit Christian resolution, and I think the film could have a deeper exploration of like the church's role as both refuge and battleground, perhaps giving more narrative weight to the characters wrestling with faith. I think more clarity in the resolution of Sammy's spiritual journey. Does he reconcile his music with the faith, or must he choose one over the other? You know, and then slightly more development for Annie and Mary, whose sacrifices are profound, but could be explored with greater emotional depth, I think. So here are my final thoughts. Sinners is not a film to be watched passively. Its genius lies in its refusal to offer easy answers. Instead, inviting viewers to wrestle with the boundaries between good and evil, sacred and profane, survival and sin. For those willing to look beneath the surface, Sinners is a spiritual survival journey, story and journey, a sermon, a blues song, a lament for all who have been marked as sinners by our unjust world, you know? Its message is clear. True redemption requires remembering, resisting, and reclaiming what is sacred, even in the face of monstrous odds. Total Dusk Till Dawn vibes. The vampire archetype becomes more like a predator. It's symbol of spiritual transformation, but also domination. Like vampire Christian missionaries promised eternal life, but demanded a death of sorts, the death of the old identities, traditions, and native beliefs. I don't know. I found it had my mind. You got to use your mind here. Like, if you're just looking surface level, yeah, it's a stupid ass movie. It's the symbolism behind all of it. You got to dig deeper. I give it like a 3.5. Is it dope or no? I'm gonna go dope. I like that my brain cells were busy. Definitely dope. I love you guys.